Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers by Tam Kaur, a book that redefines what self love truly stands for. First, we'll begin by breaking down the common myths and misconceptions about self love that might be silently holding you back. Then, we'll walk through 10 components of real self love that shows what it generally looks like beneath all the surface level trends. You'll also discover 5 powerful tools to start your self love journey, learn about 10 different aspects of trauma and how to deal with them, and finally, type into 6 transformative healing methods. Each part of this video is here to help you align with your highest self and step into the most confident, healed, and authentic version of yourself. At the end of this video is a beautiful reminder you truly need to hear. Chapter 1: Self Love Myths. When we search about self love in the internet, we are bombarded with misconceptions as to what self love actually means. It is associated with narcissism due to society's unfamiliarity with openly expressing self admiration, or it is labeled as a coping mechanism for singles and majority of the time restricted to aesthetic self-care habits. But self-care and narcissism are opposite to each other and never come together. Narcissism is characterized by lack of empathy, sense of superiority, entitlement, exploitative habits, manipulation, and a deep need for admiration, attention, and validation from others. Whereas self love is unconditional acceptance and having a loving home to return to within yourself. You will never catch a self loving person criticizing because they know they are not above anybody else and they are confident enough to focus on themselves without having to tear someone else down to support their own fragile ego. In majority of the online narratives, self love is restricted to aesthetic self care habits, but the fact is, if self love is a universal set, then self care is just a subset of it. Self love is not always glamorous as self love is. As self love is also to look at the darker side of yourself and work through them, which is very challenging and daunting. Setting boundaries with yourself, getting in touch with yourself, showing up for yourself, working through the toxic patterns, and actively rewiring your conscious and subconscious to work in your favor demands a lot of discipline, patience, self compassion, and perseverance, which are also what self love encompasses. Oftentimes, self love is labeled as a coping strategy during singlehood, but to think about it, self love is actually forming a healthy and loving relationship with yourself. You are the only person you know the best who has been through all of your challenges, dilemmas, choices, and situations. The most beautiful relationship you can ever have is with God and with yourself. Self love is not a concept to be reserved for singlehood, it is to be given to yourself every moment because you are the love of your life. Chapter 2: 10 Components of Real Self Love. Part 1: The 5 Love Languages. The 5 love languages offer a beautiful way to understand yourself and your emotional needs on a deeper, more intimate level. The love languages we'll explore here are quality time, words of affirmation, gift giving, physical touch, and acts of service. If quality time is your primary love language, if you truly value meaningful moments with others, then it's time to start offering the same presence to yourself. You deserve your own undivided attention. Set aside time in your schedule just to be with yourself. Take yourself on solo dates. Sit with your thoughts and reflect on your life, your strengths, your challenges, dreams, fears, and the beliefs that are holding you back. It is in these quiet, intentional moments that we grow, evolve, and build a genuine connection with ourselves. Next is words of affirmation. If you value people communicating their appreciation to you, such as someone saying, I'm so proud of you, can light up your day, then it is very necessary to speak to yourself in the same manner. For your major love language is words of affirmation. It is especially important to speak to yourself with kindness, compassion, and love. Your inner critic may be loud, but it doesn't speak the truth. It only reflects fear and insecurity. Self-judgmenting voice needs to be muted. You need to start speaking to yourself with kindness, love, and compassion. Be your biggest encourager. You deserve to hear kind words every single day, not just when you reach a milestone. Compliment yourself. Speaking to yourself with love is one of the most transformative habits you can build. The third is gift giving. When your major love language is gift giving, then on the flip side, your major heart language will be when others overlook the importance of thoughtful gestures like bringing you flowers or even small surprises. If your love language is gift giving and receiving, then it is a high time that you give this love language to yourself. You don't have to wait for anyone else to express love this way. Start gifting to yourself Buy yourself flowers, treat yourself to something special, or even create something beautiful just for you, like a painting, a meal, or a small DIY gift. Studies in psychology show that when we treat ourselves, it helps us to regain the sense of control over our life while simultaneously making us feel happier, cared for, and more confident. Gifting to yourself reinforces the belief that you are deserving of celebration, care, and joy. Next comes physical touch, a love language rooted in connection and comfort. Touch activates the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone that brings calm and joy. You can nourish this love language by investing in soft blankets, cozy clothes, or by booking a massage, getting a manicure, or simply taking care of your body with intention. The fifth love language is acts of service. Act of service is about feeling of being looked after and provided for. It is your major love language when you treasure feeling looked after, and the most generous act for you is someone going above and beyond in their action to help you and make your life easier. On the other side, you feel rejected when someone neglects your needs or shows disinterest in contributing to your life. Giving this love language to yourself is a powerful expression of self love. It helps you become more independent, focused, and productive in every area of your life because you are showing up for yourself. The sacred acts of self service include committing to the work needed for your growth and well being, working towards your dreams and your goals, choosing to stay accountable, disciplined, and consistent, or simply taking care of your everyday needs. Part 2, Self Acceptance. Self acceptance means fully embracing who you are, your strengths, flaws, and everything in between. Tam Kaur reminds us the worst loneliness is not to be comfortable with yourself. You don't need to be perfect to love yourself. You were born with your own voice, unique vision. Trust yourself more. That's where self acceptance truly begins. Part 3, Self Sufficiency. Self sufficiency is one of the most powerful forms of self love. Independence, being able to provide for yourself without relying on others, is what gives you true freedom. When you know how to survive and thrive on your own, you never have to stay in toxic situations just because you are afraid of being alone. You get to choose who you allow in your life, only accept the kind of love that meets your highest standards. Every time you do something by yourself, whether it's fixing something at home, cooking your meals, learning a new skill, or engaging in a hobby or new activity that fulfills you, you are proving to yourself just how capable and strong you really are. You are adding it in the portfolio of proof. Part 4, Self Discovery. It is the act of unlearning who you are told to be and how you are conditioned while growing up, and instead learning and discovering your true self and who you truly are, and walking the path of what feels intuitive to your soul. Part 5, Solo Dating. It is taking yourself on dates and giving yourself every experience that you would usually wait to receive in a relationship. It is important because once you make it a habit to provide yourself with every form of love you would usually expect from others, you will be protected from chasing bare minimum experiences ever again just for the sake of wanting company. You deserve the kind of love you have always dreamed of, so give that love to yourself as much as you can. Part 6, Boundaries. Setting boundaries is drawing a line between us and the limits we set for our lives to define the appropriate behavior we accept within a relationship, be it a relationship with others or relationship with self. Boundaries help protect energy bandwidth and maintain emotional balance. It speaks that you love yourself and respect yourself enough to put yourself first and have a strong sense of identity and purpose to live a fulfilling life. People pleasing is the fastest way to surrender your respect. When you feel afraid to say no, overcompensate, chase approval, and prioritize others' time over yours, you are telling yourself that you are unimportant and the other people hold more value in your life than you do for yourself. So, regularly communicate your limits and preferences with people and prepare to cut out those who choose to disrespect your needs. Part 7, Mental Health. Just like we care for our bodies, our mind needs rest, love, care, and attention too. And that's where the concept of mental health comes in. Mental health is your emotional, psychological, and social well being, and it deserves to be a top priority above friends, relationship, family drama, or work stress. It is about your true feelings inside, including your thoughts, emotions, and the way you cope with life. Nurturing a healthy mindset means learning to handle stress, heal through pain, and show up for yourself even on your hardest days. It is one of the most powerful forms of self love because when your mind is healthy, you build a life that is not only strong but deeply beautiful and meaningful. Part 8, Inner Monologue. It is how you speak to yourself in your mind mind. Majority of how you see life and choose to present and interact in life is a reflection of your inner monologue because what we think and say to ourselves become our reality. Using your own voice to inflict judgment and criticism on yourself is often the result of distorted self-perception built on low self-esteem. Become aware of your inner critic. When you hear it speak, take a moment to pause and choose a new thought to replace it. It will feel uncomfortable at first, but with practice, it will really help you build self-esteem. You must learn to navigate the voice of your inner critic because it will be with you throughout your lifetime. Part 9. Inner child. Your inner child represents the childlike part of you that still lives within you. It is a part of you that holds your earliest memories, emotions, fears, joys, wounds, and carries the feelings or beliefs you formed in childhood. Whether it is a deep need for love, a fear of abandonment, or sense of playfulness and creativity. Healing your inner child means reconnecting with the blueprint of your consciousness formed during childhood. This may still affect you till date. If you are often criticized during childhood, then you might fear rejection or struggle with self-love as an adult or have developed people pleasing tendencies. If your primary caretakers were emotionally distant from you, it might have shaped you as emotionally closed off person in adulthood. Or if you have grown up in an environment where infidelity was common, your inner child might still be untrustful of your partner and fear betrayal or worse, you might manifest those tendencies into yourself or draw such people into your life. Every time you start criticizing yourself subconsciously, when you doubt whether you can achieve your goals, or point out which part of your appearance you despise, or convince yourself that you don't deserve love, you are saying all those things to that child version of yourself standing innocently beside you, gazing up at you in admiration. They does not deserve to be spoken in that way, neither do you. Nurturing your inner child means giving yourself the love, protection, and acceptance you may have not received when you were younger. It involves listening to your feelings, honoring your needs, and allowing yourself to be joyful, imaginative, and vulnerable without shame. Inner child is an innocent, sensitive version of you who still longs to be seen, loved, and starts healing when you finally become the adult she needed all along. Part 10. Authenticity and confidence. Wanting to be somebody else is a waste of a person you are. It is a saying by Kurt Cobain. In life, seeking what is meant for you and what feels best for you and fulfills you is always a trial and error process that is ongoing throughout lifetime. And the key is to always move towards being authentic, embracing what feels natural and aligns with your soul while letting go the need to pretend or fit into someone else's mold. It is important to remember that each person is unique with their own path and purpose. One must identify their own purpose. Just like how a fish should never criticize itself for not being able to climb a tree, there is immense beauty in immersing your own strengths and the way you move through the world. When you fully embrace your natural gifts and tap into your true potential, an unshakable confidence naturally arises from within. Chapter 3. Tools to start your self-love journey. Part 1. Energy and belief systems. Everything is energy and that is all there to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. Albert Einstein. One's energetic vibration shows the energetic state in where she is functioning, and the aura is the outward projection of the energy around her. Aligning with the higher energetic vibration of the universe, such as willingness, acceptance, love, joy, peace, enlightenment is heaven, and that the lower energetic vibrations such as anger, desire, fear, guilt, and shame is hell. This is the map of consciousness. In Hindu cosmology, it is said that in Satya Yuga, the good and evil used to reside in different planes. In Treta Yuga, good and evil resided in different sides but on the same plane. In Dwapar Yuga, they resided in different families of the same clan, and in Kali Yuga, which is now, they reside in the same body. Your vibrational frequency is the intensity and quality of energy that you are operating with and experiencing. Your vibrational frequency is shaped by what you consume, believe, and repeat. When you constantly compare yourself to others or complain about your life, you are operating at one of the lowest energetic levels. The media you consume influences this vibration deeply, whether it's toxic gossip, celebrity scandals, or reality TV. Constant exposure to low frequency content programs your mind to believe that chaos and dysfunction are normal, but they are not. There are women out there living in beautiful, healthy relationships, living lives full of purpose and joy, but no one focuses on that because that's not dramatic enough. So you must intentionally bring it into your world. Start by curating your digital environment. Click not interested on anything that feels low vibe or draining, and choose to engage with content that reflects your higher self by clicking interested to those content. Replace mindless scrolling and reality TV with nourishing books, podcasts, and videos that stretch your perspective and feed your soul. Tam Kaur writes, I have distanced myself from friends who I just loved and are still such amazing people, but who do not align with the life I crave. I realize that keeping them around makes me smaller. Being with people who aren't growing with you and who always keep a certain image of you in their head makes it harder for you to escape that version of yourself. Once you start removing the people, beliefs, and habits that keep you stuck in a version of life you have outgrown, you create a space for something new, something more aligned for your higher self. Visualizing the kind of person you want to become isn't just a wishful thinking, it's a powerful act. The more clearly you see it, the more your brain believes it's already happening. That beliefs rewire your subconscious, creating new habits and mindset that support the life you actually want to live. Your thoughts shape your reality. When you constantly feed your mind with doubt, fear, and limitation, those beliefs start to feel like truth. But when you gently challenge those thoughts, even by recalling the small wins you have had, you begin to dismantle the lies. The fear of failure loses its grip when you can point to evidence that you have already survived, grown, and succeeded. At the end of the day, raising your energetic frequency is about making daily choices that honor your growth, align with your truth, and help you become the best version of yourself that you know deep down you are meant to be. After all, if you tell the universe that you identify with the lifestyle you currently have by continuing to accept it, how will you ever align with a different life? Part 2, Intentional Joy. A lot of self hating behaviors are rooted in jealousy, shame, guilt, sadness, and fear. A joyful person is so immersed in embracing every moment of their reality that they don't spare a second to feel those emotions. When you master the art of intentional joy, you start to love your life more, and unsurprisingly, that love is absorbed into you because in reality, we are responsible for our own sadness, misery, happiness, or ecstasy. It is never about other person. How others interact with you is their own reflection, but how you perceive it and respond is a projection of your inner world. There is so much to be happy about when you simply shift the narrative of life within your favor. One can always choose to set the narrative of their own life. Intentional joy is also about romanticizing your life because life is not something you should just tolerate, it is something to celebrate. In your life, you are the main character. You deserve to live boldly, beautifully, and unapologetically. No one's judgment should dim your creativity, no one's presence should ever dim your life. That's where solo dating comes in. It is the art of giving yourself all the things you usually wait to receive in a relationship. It is about taking yourself out on dates, or going to temples alone for spiritual alignment, or buying yourself flowers, taking yourself out for dinner, and showing up for yourself with the same love and excitement you'd give to someone else. Solo dating helps you fall in love with your own company. These aren't just habits, they are a way of raising your standards, building trust in yourself, and making sure your joy doesn't depend on anyone else. Doing things like dancing to your favorite songs, gifting yourself something meaningful, or cooking your favorite meal. These are the acts of intentional joy that remind you that you don't need permission to feel happy because happiness, it was never out there. It has always lived inside you. Your inner space needs to be your sanctuary, filled with peace, wonder, playfulness, and light. Part 3, Fearless Boundaries. Fearless boundaries are one of the highest form of self-respect. Setting boundaries mean placing a line, one that protects your peace and prevents others and your own habits from crossing into harm. It could be simply as not letting someone speak to you in a certain way, or even disciplining yourself not to scroll late into the night. Setting boundaries with yourself is a tough love, but it's a kind of love that builds trust and strength from within. Boundaries are not about controlling others, they are about caring for your own spiritual hygiene, how you manage your energy, protect your peace, and choose what you allow in and what you no longer tolerate. It is about being intentional with your life. You stop setting for what's thrown at you and start consciously creating what surrounds you. The way you live your boundaries sends the clearest message about what you will and won't accept. You don't need to argue, you just need to act. Walking away is a boundary too. Let's talk about energy vampires. There are friends who constantly emotionally dump on you, always bring drama, rarely ask about you, and leave you feeling heavy and exhausted invested. Then there's friend who treats you like their romantic partner, overly attached, overly dependent, and expects you to fix them. That's not love, that's codependency. Or the pity party friend who showers you with the compliments too soon, jokes about their self-worth, and quickly becomes obsessed. Healthy friendships take time and boundaries. And sometimes the hardest boundaries are with family. Familial validation is deeply rooted because those expectations were shaped before we even understood ourselves. When you start to love yourself differently, your family dynamic may shift. They may accuse you of changing, when in reality, you are just coming home to who you have always been. That can feel threatening to people who are comfortable with the old version of you. But here's the truth, you don't owe anyone access to you just because they have known you the longest. And let's not forget boundaries with yourself. These are the quiet, private choices that shape your life. Keeping promises to yourself, not indulging in things you're sure of, choosing sleep instead of self sabotage, creating space for guilt free rest, silence, and restoration are some of the non negotiable boundaries to draw with yourself. Because if your energy is constantly drained by noise, stimulation, and people pleasing, how can you hear your own soul speak, the intuition that we have by birth? Part 4, Self Understanding. You can't truly love yourself if you don't know who you are. If you are constantly out of touch with your own body, constantly silencing your thoughts, and pushing your emotions down, how can you ever show yourself real love? Self understanding means getting to know both your strengths and your weakness, working on the parts that need growth while still treating yourself with compassion. It is about listening to your body so you don't overwork it and trusting your intuition rather than overriding it with noise. It is knowing what you genuinely want, not what you have been conditioned to want, and recognizing that every emotion you feel is a message from your subconscious. Instead of running from these emotions or suppressing them, you meet them, you feel them, and learn from them. The way you perceive yourself determines everything. If you carry a distorted view of who you are, it not only stunts your own potential but also poisons your relationships. This is why it is essential to rewrite the stories you have told yourself about who you are. Through shadow work and self reflection, you can change how you define yourself because without taking time to understand yourself, you will internalize everyone else's ideas of who you should be. Get curious. Why do you feel the way you do? What makes you come alive? What makes you shut down? When you fully understand who you are, your values, flaws, dreams, and patterns, you won't be seconded by anyone's opinion of you because you are the only person who has lived every second of your life, and the only opinion that truly matters is yours. Part 5, Discipline and Accountability. It is one of the most self loving things that you can do to yourself. It is what keeps you going in the highest path of your life and keep you on track. Discipline and accountability are two of the most underrated forms of self love. Discipline and accountability is not about being strict or pushing yourself too hard. It is about learning to show up for yourself, especially on days you don't feel like it. When you keep little promises you make to yourself, like finishing something you started or even just getting out of bed when you said you slowly start building real trust within. That trust, it is everything because the more you prove to yourself that you can depend on you, the less you need outside validation to feel proud or worthy. Discipline isn't punishment, it is devotion. It is a way of saying, I believe in the person I'm becoming and I'm willing to show up for her every day. Chapter 4, The 10 Stages of Trauma and the Path to Healing. Healing from trauma is a messy, often confusing journey with many stages. Each stage represents a challenge you might face and a step towards reclaiming your power and peace. In this chapter, we'll explore 10 important stages of trauma paired with practical ways to heal and grow from them. These stages helps us understand the deep impact trauma has on our mind, heart, and life, and more importantly, how we can move through that pain to the place of strength and self-love. Part 1, Self-blame and Self-education. Self-blame is a harmful cycle that pulls you deeper into pain even when you aren't at fault. It is like turning your own energy against yourself, causing unnecessary suffering. Instead of blaming, self education invites you to learn about how the mind works, how trauma, manipulation, or toxic people affect us. When you understand things like narcissism or gaslighting, you gain clarity and free yourself from others' action. Awareness is the first step towards healing. Part 2, Self sabotage and Accountability. Self sabotage happens when you hold yourself back because of the inner voices or limiting beliefs. But true healing begins when you choose accountability, when you keep the promises you make to yourself. Accountability is a powerful form of self love that breaks the cycle of sabotage. Part 3, Guilt and Vulnerability. We all make mistakes. It is a part of being human and growing. Holding on to guilt keeps you stuck in the past, but your past doesn't define your present or future. If you imagine your younger self making those choices, you might offer her compassion instead of judgment. Healing starts when you forgive yourself for what you did with the knowledge and resources you had then. Part 4, Curiosity and Closure. Curiosity served us well as survivalists, but after heartbreak or trauma, it can keep us trapped into the loop of pain. True closure doesn't come from revisiting the past or seeking answers from others. It comes from within. When you turn curiosity inward and rewrite your own story, you reclaim your power. Closure means choosing to live fully in your present and decide how your life unfolds from now on. Part 5, Manifesting Pain and Manifesting Power. Human consciousness is an ocean full of secrets. Your mind is incredibly powerful. What you focus on grows. If you dwell on pain, you strengthen it. When you consciously shift your thoughts and action, you can manifest strength, joy, and healing. You hold the power to create your reality, choosing growth over suffering. Healing is about learning to direct your energy towards what uplifts and empowers you. Part 6, Expectations and New Narratives. One of the hardest lessons is letting go of expectations, especially about outcomes. Like the wisdom from Bhagavad Gita, true peace comes from focusing on your effort, not the results. When you release attachment to specific outcomes, contentment is found in the process, not just the destination. Part 7, Relieving and Releasing. Sometimes healing means facing the pain you have buried deep inside. Reliving those moments with courage instead of avoidance can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary to release what no longer serves you. By allowing yourself to feel and express those buried emotions, you clear space for peace and growth. Healing is not about forgetting, but about reclaiming your power over those memories. Part 8, Uncontrollable Anxiety and Intentional Peace. Anxiety can often feel like a storm that comes without warning, overwhelming your mind and body. While you can't always control when anxiety hits, you can choose how to respond to it. Intentional peace is about creating moments of calm through breath, mindfulness, or grounding practices that remind you are safe, you are here, and this too shall pass. Choosing peace doesn't mean anxiety disappears overnight, but it does mean you refuse to let it control your life. Part 9, Denial and Acceptance. Denial is a natural defense when pain feels too heavy, but holding into it only delays the healing process. Acceptance isn't about liking what happened, it's about acknowledging reality so you can move forward. When you fully accept your experiences, including the hurt and loss, you give permission to heal on your own terms. Acceptance brings freedom, the freedom to live your life without carrying the weight of denial. Part 10, Going back to normal and creating a new normal. After trauma, normal might never look the same, and that's okay. Healing means recognizing that your new normal is different. It's shaped by your growth, lessons, and your strength. Instead of trying to return to what was, you create a life that reflects who you are now. This new normal is an opportunity to build a future aligned with your true self, one filled with resilience, love, and authenticity. Chapter 5, Healing Methods to Support Your Journey. Healing is a deeply personal process. Different methods work for different people and at different times. In this chapter, we will explore some powerful healing tools that can help you connect with yourself, face your fears, and grow stronger through the process. These techniques aren't about perfection, they're about showing up for yourself with kindness and courage. Part 1, Shadow Self and Shadow Work. The shadow self is a part of you that holds your hidden wounds, fears, and traits you might try to hide or deny. Shadow work means gently exploring these parts instead of pushing them away. By recognizing and accepting the shadow aspects, you give yourself a chance to heal old pain and rewrite how you relate to yourself. It is about embracing your whole self, the light in the dark, and finding compassion for every part of you. Part 2, Exposure Therapy. Exposure therapy is all about stepping outside of your comfort zone in small, manageable ways. It means facing the things that trigger fear or anxiety bit by bit until they lose their hold on you. This process retains your brain and nervous system to feel safe even in situations that once felt overwhelming. Tam Kaur shares how she used exposure therapy to stop obsessing over others' opinions. Exposure therapy is not about rushing or forcing yourself, it is is about showing up for yourself repeatedly, building courage, and reclaiming your freedom. Part 3, Self Compassion. Self compassion is treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a close friend. When things go wrong, instead of beating yourself, self compassion invites you to say, "It's okay, I'm doing my best." It's about being gentle with yourself in moments of struggle and recognizing that imperfection is a part of being human. This loving attitude creates a space for healing and growth, helping you move through pain without harsh judgment or shame. Part 4, Self Support. Supporting yourself means becoming your own biggest cheerleader and a safe place. It is about taking responsibility for your needs and showing up for yourself with patience and love. When you practice self support, you actively choose actions that nourish your mind, body, and spirit, whether it's setting boundaries, resting when needed, or celebrating your wins. The more you support yourself, the more resilient and confident you become. Part 5, Your Younger Self. Younger self healing is a beautiful practice of connecting with the child version of you who might still carry pain, fear, or confusion. By reaching back and offering that younger self love, comfort, and reassurance, you help heal wounds that have shaped your adult life. This can be done through visualization, like imagining your present self comforting and guiding your younger self, or through journaling and self reflection. It is a way of reparenting yourself, filling gaps you may have experienced growing up, and creating a foundation of safety and self love from within. Conclusion. Self love is about showing up for yourself every day, even when it is hard. It is learning to accept all parts of you, the good, the messy, the imperfect, without judgment or shame. It means letting go of the fear of how others see you and finally give yourself permission to take up space, be heard, and be seen. It is in learning to love the truest version of yourself so that you will always have a loving home to return to within yourself. It is in knowing that you are the only person you will ever need to impress. This journey isn't about perfection or always having it together. It is about acceptance, forgiveness, and showing up for yourself consistently. It is also about growth, healing, and choosing yourself, which includes your happiness, your peace, your worth, over and over again. After all, you are the love of your own life.